What I want to do in this video is cover Nigeria's top 10 food export product. So I have the list here. I'm looking at it right now. I'm going to go over to the NEPC's website, which is it's the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. They are a government entity, a Nigerian government entity that fosters the exportation of non-oil products from Nigeria. So looking at that product profile, so they have 6 products here that's highlighted on their website for importers, if you're outside of the country, to look into importing from Nigeria. So those products are cocoa, cashews, ginger, sesame, soya beans, and groundnut. So out of this product, I'm just going to tell you from our own practical hands-on experience, we have imported cocoa from Nigeria. We have not found success in cocoa. So out of this list, we've dabbled in cocoa, we've dabbled in ginger, and we've dabbled in soya beans and groundnut. So out of the 6 product profile that's listed here, we've imported 4 into the United States. The only thing that we have not done is the sesame seeds and cashew nuts. So these are just product profiles. It doesn't mean that that's the right market or the right product for you. Like our top selling product right now is crayfish, but it's not on the list. So then I'm going to go back to this list, this top 10 food product list. Again, this is just an idea. You also have to remember that what is on this list, like you got to look at like cocoa beans. It's a highly, highly competitive commodity. Although it's a top 10 food export from Nigeria, it does not mean that you'll find success importing cocoa beans from Nigeria. Again, it really depends on your market. Now, what works for us is not even on this list. So, but this is just to give a buyer and importer a general idea of the products or the food products that are available in abundance in Nigeria that you could consider importing. And if you have the customer base for it, then Nigeria is definitely a good country to consider importing from. So the top 10 on the list: cocoa beans. Nigeria is one of the largest producers of cocoa beans in the world. The beans are obviously a major export product, but do your own research. Just because it's a major export product from Nigeria doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you in the market that you are in. But tons of cocoa beans in Nigeria. We did not import cocoa beans, and maybe that was the issue. We imported cocoa powder, the Dutch processed cocoa powder from one of the largest cocoa supplier in the country. So we tested that, didn't work for us. It's not an area that we want to continue in. So we are completely done unless there's just some need out there and someone wants us to help them source cocoa from Nigeria. But as far as adding cocoa to our portfolio of product is something that we're not taking on anymore because the market just didn't work for us because the United States is crowded. It's just oversaturated with cocoa from all over the world. So another product is sesame seeds. This isn't something that we've done. I mean, I am definitely going to consider looking into sesame seeds, but I'm going to test the market first. bring in a smaller quantity, see if there's demand. So that's number 2 on the list. Nigeria is a major exporter there. Sesame seeds is used in a variety of food products, and they're used for their oil, like sesame oil. So you have cashew nuts. I hear that cashew nuts there's a market for it, but it's not something that we've done. We've done granuts. Granuts, essentially peanuts, but we call it granuts in Nigeria. We've done that. That didn't work. I mean, there was the thing about peanuts that I didn't like is just the shelf life. Okay, there was obviously demand for it, but the shelf life is just so short. You only have a certain amount of window or a certain amount of window to sell and consume the product. So we are going for something with a longer shelf life, like spices and seasonings. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, crayfish is our top export product. Palm oil. We are in the palm oil business. Bereket is in the palm oil business. We have, in my homestead village in Akwa Ibom State, Nigeria, we have quite a few palm oil products. And again, if you are familiar with Nigeria, you know that the best palm oil comes from Akwa Ibom State, which happens to be my homestead state. So palm oil is something that we are currently producing, processing, and importing from Nigeria into the United States. It hasn't quite taken off yet. Like the velocity of sales for palm oil is not the same as let's say crayfish, but it definitely has potential. And this is an area that we are going to be in for a long time. So that's number 4 on the list is palm oil. Ginger, number 5. We buy and import ginger from Nigeria. Ginger is also one of those products that it's a slow burner. It sells for us here and there. It has a very stable velocity, but it just doesn't have that speed, like the volume that we're looking for right now. So ginger is something that Kate and I have talked about discontinuing from our product portfolio this year. So we're going to give it another year. We're going to give it until the end of 2023 and then reassess. But just the way it is right now on a retail side, because we sell directly to consumers, ginger, it's a stable seller for us, but we would like there to be more sales for ginger. I'm not saying it doesn't sell. It does sell, but there's a certain benchmark that we'll look for in our products to make a decision if it's something that we want to keep or get rid of. So ginger it's kind of tethering on that fine line of, do we want to keep it or do we want to discontinue it? So we're going to give it until the end of 2023 and then reassess. So number 6, so that's number 5. Number 6 is shea butter. And shea butter obviously is derived from cocoa. So this for us, this kind of falls more in line of like cosmetics, and we don't necessarily deal in things like that. We are mostly about food products, and we have a couple of non-food items that we import from Nigeria. But once those sell out, we will not be replenishing those. So shea butter is also something you can look into. The company, the cocoa supplier that we work with, they also have shea butter in their portfolio. So if any of you are interested in that, getting into shea butter shea butter. Now, when I say imports, I'm talking about, because I'm in the United States, so I'm speaking primarily to people in the United States looking to import from Nigeria. But I also talk to exporters in Nigeria looking to export to the world. So if either one way or another, whether you're looking to import from Nigeria or export out of Nigeria, let me know. We can definitely talk to the shea butter factory on your behalf and see what we can make happen for you. Yams, fresh yams. I had a conversation earlier. I have a very, very strong yam supplier in Lagos who travels to Benue State to buy yams. Benue State is one of the largest producing states in Nigeria, and they specialize in the production, the cultivation and production of fresh yams. So yam is an important product that we have looked into. Last year, I contacted the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, to get some information on importing fresh yams from Nigeria. And yams are admissible. They are not currently banned, contrary to popular belief. If your yams are well packaged, treated for pesticides and other contaminants, it's well labeled. You could definitely export yams from Nigeria and also import them into the United States. So this is a product that is on our radar. And as the year goes on, it's something that we will be looking into importing on a smaller scale into the United States to test the market. But I know for sure that there's market demand for fresh Nigerian yams in the United States. Bitter cola. I actually grew up on bitter cola. I used to run errands for my grandfather when I was a kid, getting them bitter cola and gin. This is a hot commodity in the United States. There's demand for bitter cola in the US. But the challenges with bitter cola is just the shelf life. It's something that you have to consider. You have to consider the shelf life of the products that you're importing into the United States or you're exporting out of Nigeria for a global market. So it's number 8 on the list of top 10 food products to export from Nigeria. But these are the things you want to consider. There's a huge market for bitter cola in the United States. I do not have a direct supply network for bitter cola, but I can ask around through my contacts on the ground in Nigeria to see who they know who can supply this on a commercial scale. So that's number 8. Number 9, cola nuts. So bitter cola and cola nuts sort of like falls in the same category. We have not touched both products because of the shelf life issue. We want something with a shelf life of at least a minimum of 6 months. Our sweet spot is 18 months. And that is why we focus mainly on spices and seasonings. And palm oil can last a long time if it's stored properly. So number 9 on the list is cola nuts. Has great export and import potential for those who are interested, and Nigeria has a ton of cola nuts. Number 10 is plantain. Staple food in Nigeria, is exported to other countries. Plantain is used in a variety of dishes, similar to bananas, but less sweet. My family, we love plantains. Although the plantains that we eat, they aren't necessarily Nigerian plantains, they're plantains from Mexico. But we love plantains. Fresh plantains has a market in Nigeria. But the thing about fresh vegetables, and this falls into the line of fresh vegetables, the challenge about fresh vegetables, it's mostly about the packaging, the storage. This isn't something that, unless it's a refrigerated container, I would advise going via sea when it comes to fresh vegetables. This definitely has to go via air. But as you continue to grow your import-export business and you're at a point where you can get refrigerated containers, then fresh vegetables, and also not just from refrigerated containers, refrigerated storage facilities in the US, then fresh vegetables is definitely the way to go. So I'm going to go over that list again, just a quick run through. Top 10: cocoa beans, sesame seeds, cashew nuts, palm oil, ginger, shea butter, yam, bitter cola, cola nuts, and plantain. And the product profile on NEPC's website. So that's nepc.gov.ng. They feature product profile for exports on their website. There are cocoa. I'm not sure if it's like cocoa beans or coconut, but cocoa, cashews, ginger, sesame, soya beans, and groundnuts. So yeah, that's it. Hopefully you find that informative, and yeah, do your due diligence. I really think it's important, and just because it's listed there doesn't mean that you should go for those products. Like everything that we sell, like spices and seasonings, crayfish, pepper, that's been doing extremely well for us. Gary, it's not on the list. So it's just a matter of preference. And it's also a matter of your supply chain network. What I always share with people is focus on something you can supply. Build your business around your supply chain network. If you don't have a steady supplier for cocoa, it's not something that I would get into. So identify areas, identify products that you have access to, and then build your import and export business around those products. And as you grow, you can fan out and expand into other areas. Okay, so Rich and Barricade, check us out at barricade.com, shop our products. And if you have any export, import related questions, particularly, I have to be very, very specific and clear here, Nigerian food products. We don't do crude oil. We don't do solid minerals. That's not our sector. That's not our space. We are focused mostly on food and agricultural products. So if you have any questions in the food and agri sector, reach out to me, and I'll do my very best to assist you. Okay, take care. Bye.